Can you test tannin-colored water with your JBL test kit? Will the brown tint affect your results? In this video, we put it to the test, using both a tannin and a non-tannin tank, so you'll know exactly how to get accurate readings. We'll start by testing the tannin water. This kit comes with everything you need. Even the syringes I am using were included in the case. I added the instructions on the screen so you can follow along as I test the water. The first step is to add 5 milliliters of water into one of these test vials. Step 2 is to add the first NH4 solution. We have 3 of these NH4 dropper bottles. Each one is labeled with the numbers 1, 2, and 3 to show the order in which they should be used. But for this specific step, we need to carefully add exactly 4 drops. Step 3. Now we just need to add 4 drops from the NH4 dropper bottle labeled with number 2. Step 4. This time we need to add 5 drops from the NH4 dropper bottle labeled with number 3. I'll just give it a little swirl to make sure that everything is properly mixed. And now we can set up a timer for 15 minutes. Now that we've set the timer, we can start testing the non-tannin water. The steps will be exactly the same as what we just did for the tannin water. We're going to need 2 control vials, one for the tannin water and one for the non-tannin water. And having the control vial for both types of water helps us better interpret the results on the test sheet. To read the results, we can place the vial with the NH4 test solution in position A, and the control vial will be in position B. Then we compare the color of the solution in position A to the chart, and since we have a freshwater tank, we will use the top row to determine the NH4 level. In our case, the color is yellow, not even green, so the NH4 value for us is 0. And now we can go ahead and check the NH4 results for the non-tannin water. And as you can see, the color is still very much yellow, so the NH4 value for the non-tannin water is also 0. First, let's test the tannin water. I'll take 5 milliliters and add it to the vial, just like it's shown in the instructions. Step 2 is to add the first NO2 solution. We have 2 of these NO2 dropper bottles labeled with the numbers 1 and 2. And we'll need to add 5 drops from bottle number 1. For step 3, we just need to add another 5 drops from bottle labeled with number 2. I'll just give it a little swirl and then set the timer for 5 minutes. And now we can start testing the non-tannin water. The steps will be exactly the same as we just did for the tannin one. The NO2 vial for the tannin water has a slight pink tint, but not too much. The level is a good 0.05. And now for the non-tannin water, the NO2 vial color is very similar, a little bit pinkish, but not too much. The level is also at the 0.05. We'll start with the tannin water again. This time I'll need 10 milliliters as the instructions show. Step 2 is to add a scoop of NO3 powder. For NO3 we have a bottle labeled with number 1, which contains a powder, and then a dropper bottle labeled with number 2. For this step, I'll use the larger side of the scoop to add the powder. Step 3, we need to add 6 drops from the bottle labeled with number 2, and then we need to give it a good shake. I'm just doing a quick check to make sure the powder dissolved properly. And after we set the timer for 10 minutes, we can start testing the non-tannin water. The steps will be exactly the same as we just did for the tannin water. For the tannin water, the NO3 vial color is pretty yellow, which is a good sign. The level is at 1. The non-tannin water is actually our more established tank, so the NO3 vial has a nice strong yellow color and the value of 5. For pH testing, let's start with the tannin water again. We are actually expecting the tannin water to have a lower pH due to the botanicals. First step is to add 5 milliliters of the tannin water in this graded vial. Now we'll need to add 5 drops from the pH dropper bottle and then give it a swirl. Last step is to add the timer for 5 minutes, and then we can start testing the non-tannin water by doing the exact same steps as we just did. The tannin water has a slight green tint, indicating a pH of 6.5. As you can see, reading pH results in tannin water is pretty straightforward and not much different compared to non-tannin water. The non-tannin pH results surprised me a little bit because this tank actually had a lower pH with a value of 6.2, and this is likely because we haven't done many water changes in this tank for a while. When it comes to testing tannin versus non-tannin water, the results are pretty clear. There isn't a huge difference in how they read. My only tip would be to use a control vial with the same tint as your sample to avoid any misreadings, but it should be pretty straightforward.